I'm Charles K. Carter, and I'm going to be reading the poem Yellowbird by Andrea Gibson from their collection Madness Face. My Uncle Billy is the leading Little Debbie's snack cake salesman in all of North America. From Vancouver, British Columbia to Miami, Florida, nobody sells more fudge rounds, Swiss rolls, or nutty bars than him. My family is incredibly proud of this fact. We tell it to strangers, to the prospective husbands of our nieces, to the clerk at the drugstore. We whisper it in church. Did you hear about Billy? Yeah, he's the leading Little Debbie snack cake salesman in all of North America. And I will never write a poem that will ever come close to matching the grandeur of that. So you won the Nobel Prize, did ya? That's nice. Did you hear Billy put 600 cream pies on that rack at the IGA and in 3 days? That rack was frickin' empty. Why is art the first class to be dropped at any public school? Why are music rooms empty in junior highs? From New York City to Nashville, Tennessee. How can you burn CD after CD after CD while filling your tank with an infinite amount of gas like the war is worth funding but music isn't? Our culture is a prison, and the only one with a key is little Emmy Jones, covering every inch of her standardized test with the best #2 pencil version of Starry Night anyone has ever seen. And yes, there is a hummingbird in her chest. Its wings are beating 80 times a second. For the second it takes you and I to see that Dr. King did not write a speech called I Have a Dream. He wrote a poem called I Have a Dream. I don't know if God will have a purple heart, but I know we have a bow. We could pull above the strings of a combat boot and make it sing like the voice of a 7-year-old boy staring down the barrels of apartheid's loaded guns, screaming for the right to write stories in his mother's tongue. Point me in the direction of glory. I will run towards a tiny hand in the most wounded corner of Palestine, dipping a brush in a can of yellow paint to paint a feather on a wall. That is so tall only yellow birds can escape, carrying the hearts of children only on their backs when they do. And when their wings flap, they will make the sound of anthems being replaced with sky. I swear I could see their shadows pass across your glowing face, the night you said you have never given birth to a child, but tear every single time you write a poem. We are growing our future with every borrowed pen. I pray tonight we will write a rainstorm that will fall like the tears at Folsom Prison. The day Johnny Cash smashed his guitar over Apathy's head, the way Frida Kahlo in the prison of her own body had whole years when she could paint nothing but red, but she painted through the bars and the locked cells of her pores, the same way saxophones in New Orleans played music underwater, knowing some of those notes would rise up towards the air, carrying people and hope to shore. I don't believe in the godliness of steeples, but I believe in stained glass in every key and every organ that is desperate for light, because we are desperate for life, for the sight of a captivated audience refusing to be held captive in the thought that we can only listen and watch. Picasso said he'd paint with his own wet tongue on the dusty floor of a jail cell if he had to. We have to create. It is the only thing louder than destruction. It's the only chance the bars are going to break. Our hands full of color, reaching towards the sky, a brushstroke in the dark. It is not too late. That starry night is not yet dry. Thank you so much, Andrea, for your words, for your empowerment, for your courage. You have given so much to our communities. Your bravery, your words, your heart, your strength will live on in us. Thank you so much.
Tincture by Andrea Gibson, read by Courtney Edwards. Imagine when a human dies, the soul misses the body, actually grieves the loss of its hands and all that they could hold, misses the throat closing shy, reading out loud on the first day of school. Imagine the soul misses the stubbed toe, the loose tooth, the funny bone. The soul still asks, why does the funny bone do that? It's just weird. Imagine the soul misses the thirsty garden cheeks watered by grief, misses how the body could sleep through a dream. What else can sleep through a dream? What else can laugh? What else can wrinkle the smile's autograph? Imagine the soul misses each falling eyelash waiting to be a wish, misses the wrist screaming away the blade. The soul misses the lisp, the stutter, the limp. The soul misses the holy bruise, blue from the army of blood rushing to the wound's side. When a human dies, the soul searches the universe for something blushing, something shaking in the cold, something that scars, sweeps the universe for patience, worn thin, the last nerve fighting for its life, the voice box aching to be heard. The soul misses the way the body would hold another body and not be two bodies, but one, pleading God doubled in grace. The soul misses how the mind told the body, you have fallen from grace. And the body said, erase every scripture that doesn't have a pulse. There isn't a single page in the Bible that can wince, that can clumsy, that can freckle, that can hunger. Imagine the soul misses hunger, emptiness, rage. The fist that was never taught to curl, curled. The teeth that were never taught to clench, clenched. The body that was never taught to make love, made love. Like a hungry ghost digging its way out of the grave. The soul misses the unforever of old age, the skin that no longer fits. The soul misses every day that the body was sick, the now it forced, that here it built from the fever. Fever is how the body prays, how it burns and begs for another average day. The soul misses the legs creaking up the stairs, misses the fear that climbed up the vocal cords to curse the wheelchair. The soul misses what the body could not let go. What else could hold on that tightly to everything? What else could hear the chain of a swing set and fall to its knees? What else could touch a screen door and taste lemonade? What else could come back from a war and not come back, but still try to live, still try to lullaby? When a human dies, the soul moves through the universe trying to describe how a body trembles when it's lost, softens when it's safe, how a wound would heal given nothing but time. Do you understand? Nothing in space can imagine it. No comet, no nebula, no ray of light can fathom the landscape of awe, the heat of shame, the fingertips pulling the first gray hair and throwing it away. I can't imagine it, the stars say. Tell us again about goosebumps. Tell us again about pain.
Hello, my name is Ari Lohr, and today I will be reading The Nutritionist, a poem by the late Andrea Gibson. The nutritionist said I should eat root vegetables, said if I could get down 13 turnips a day I would be grounded, rooted, said my head would not keep flying away to where the darkness lives. The psychic told me my heart carries too much weight, said for $20 she'd tell me what to do. I handed her the 20, and she said, stop worrying, darling. You'll find a good man soon. The first psychotherapist said I should spend 3 hours a day sitting in a dark closet with my eyes closed and my ears plugged. I tried it once, but couldn't stop thinking about how gay it was to be sitting in a closet. The yogi told me to stretch everything but the truth, said focus on the out-breath, said everyone finds happiness if they can care more about what they can give than what they can get. The pharmacist said Klonopin, Lamictal, lithium, Xanax. The doctor said an antipsychotic might help me forget what the trauma said. The trauma said, don't write this poem. Nobody wants to hear you cry about the grief inside your bones. But my bones said, Tyler Clemente dove into the Hudson River convinced he was entirely alone. My bones said, write the poem. To the lamplight, considering the riverbed. To the chandelier of your faith hanging by a thread. To every day you cannot get out of bed. To the bullseye of your wrist. To anyone who has ever wanted to die. I've been told sometimes the most healing thing we can do is remind ourselves over and over and over. Other people feel this too. The tomorrow that has come and gone, and it has not gotten better. When you are half finished writing that letter to your mother that says, I swear to God I tried, but when I thought I'd hit bottom, it started hitting back. There is no bruise like the bruise loneliness kicks into your spine, so let me tell you, I know there are days it looks like the whole world is dancing in the streets while you break down like the doors of their looted buildings. You are not alone in wondering who will be convicted of the crime of insisting you keep loading your grief into the chamber of your shame. You are not weak just because your heart feels so heavy. I have never met a heavy heart that wasn't a phone booth with a red cape inside. Some people will never understand the kind of superpower it takes for some people to just walk outside some days. I know my smile can look like the gutter of a falling house, but my hands are always holding tight to the ripcord of believing a life can be rich like the soil, can make food of decay, turn wound into highway. Pick me up in a truck with that bumper sticker that says it is no measure of good health to be well adjusted to a sick society. I have never trusted anyone with the pulled back bow of my spine the way I trusted ones who come undone at the throat, screaming for their pulses to find the fight to pound. 4 nights before Tyler Clemente jumped from the George Washington Bridge, I was sitting in a hotel room in my own town, calculating exactly what I had to swallow to keep a bottle of sleeping pills down. What I know about living is the pain is never just ours. Every time I hurt, I know the wound is an echo, so I keep listening for the moment the grief becomes a window, when I can see what I couldn't see before through the glass of my most battered dream. I watched a dandelion lose its mind in the wind, and when it did, it scattered 1,000 seeds. So the next time I tell you how easily I come out of my own skin, don't try to put me back in. Just say, here we are, together at the window, aching for it all to get better, but knowing there is a chance our hearts may have only just skinned their knees, knowing there is a chance the worst day might still be coming. Let me say right now for the record, I'm still going to be here, asking this world to dance, even if it keeps stepping on my holy feet. You stay here with me, okay? You stay here with me, raising your bite against the bitter dark, your bright longing, your brilliant fists of lost friend. If the only thing we have to gain in staying is each other, then my God, that is plenty. My God, that is enough. My God, that is so, so much for the light to give. Each of us at each other's backs, whispering over and over and over. Live, live, live.
Hi, I'm James Roach, and I'm going to be reading a couple letters that I wrote Andrea and Meg. Dear Andrea, today I cleaned a house on Gibson Street. I thought of you showing off your dance moves on the moon, a wake of dust and nameless planets clapping or spinning their rings in the depths of space. But instead of calling it space or heaven, call it Nebula Emporium, Shooting Star Depot, 50% off galaxies for newcomers. You can keep them in your pocket, roll them like dice, bet on the ages of who died when. Winner gets a visit home as a hummingbird, a family member saying, my love is back. I wonder how many light years it took you to get there. If you brought good shoes and a jacket to keep warm by the sea of tranquility. What was it like to shake Orion's hand, to become lightning? Dear Meg, have you found anything to fill Andrea's empty t-shirts? Maybe sand or a million ghosts of Luna moths? I imagine your hands tearing at every cotton poly blend, hoping to find them in there somewhere, heart beating and bruised from your clawing. I hope the dogs understand that Andrea is still in the house, their skin still a part of the dust on the shelves. And if you get a telescope, you can see them waltzing with the moon. How many pairs of their shoes do you still have lined up by the door, and how much heavier are they now? Do the laces tangle perfectly into infinity signs and hugs? Moving into different positions in bed now must feel like pushing a mountain with your index finger. Have your arms ever felt this tired? Does your heart feel like unbeating its exhaustive rhythm? I don't mean to ask so many questions while you drown in grief and watercolor sympathy cards. The answers don't matter. They'll change with the weather. And as someone magnificent once said, all living is storm chasing.